Umbria. It's often called the green heart of Italy. Nested in the center of the country, it's often overshadowed by its neighbor Tuscany. But in the glass, Umbria is full of surprises, ranging from some of the world's most tannic red wines all the way to crisp volcanic whites. So today we are going to discover the history of Umbria, its land, its terroir, its native grape varieties, and the wine styles that define it. Winemaking in Umbria goes back 2000 years. The Etruscans here planted vines and they carved out tufa cellars around the town of Orvieto, and those cellars are still in use today. In the Middle Ages, Orvieto's wines were so famous they were exported to popes and princes, often sweet and botrytized, aged in those underground caves. The revival began in the second half of the 20th century, when producers like Lungarotti in Torgiano and later Arnaldo Caprai in Montefalco proved that Umbria could compete with the best of Italy. By the 1990s, Umbria earned 2 DOCGs, recognition that set the stage for its current reputation. Umbria is Italy's only landlocked wine region, but it doesn't mean that it's uniform. Its climate is continental with Mediterranean touches, hot summers balanced with cool nights, and autumn rains that can complicate harvests. And talking about autumn rains, it's the 1st of September, and as you can see, the rain is coming. Obviously, it's not harvest season yet, but it is close, and the weather for the next few days is looking kind of rainy, so yeah. And the soils are just as varied. For example, in Montefalco, clay and limestone soils give Sagrantino its depth and massive tannins. Around Orvieto, volcanic tufa sharpens the whites with a mineral edge. Near Lake Trasimeno, the water moderates temperatures, often softening Grenache into bright fresh reds. It is this patchwork of soils and microclimates that explain why Umbria, despite its small size, has such a wide range of wine styles. But now, let's talk about the grapes, because in Umbria, they tell the story.
Sagrantino is the star. Native to Montefalco, it's one of the most tannic varieties in the world, with flavors of blackberry, wild herbs and spice. Historically sweet, today mostly dry.
Sangiovese is also widely planted here, forming the base of the Torgiano's wines. A bit similar to Tuscany, but with a distinctive Umbrian character. Grechetto is the backbone of the white wines of Umbria. There are actually 2 main types, Grechetto di Todi, or G5, which is finer and it has lower yield, and Grechetto del Orvieto, or G109, which is more vigorous. Both give citrus, chamomile, and structure.
Trebbiano Spoletino is the comeback story. Once nearly lost, it's native to Spoleto and was traditionally trained on trees in a style called Vite Maritata.
Today it makes high acid, salty, and very versatile wines that are quickly gaining recognition. And finally, a surprise, Gamay del Trasimeno, which is not Gamay at all, it's actually Grenache, thriving by the lake in a fresh, red fruity style. And now, with those grape varieties in mind, let's look at the vines and appellations that define Umbria. One of the most important reds is Montefalco Sagrantino, DOCG, which was established in 1992, and it requires 100% Sagrantino grapes, and an aging for 37 months, 12 of which in oak.
Secco versions are inky and powerful, while the traditional Passito style is sweet but structured. Names like Arnaldo Caprai, Paolo Bea, and Tabarini showcase very different approaches.
Torgiano Rosso Riserva DOCG, granted in 1990, based 70% on Sangiovese and aged for 3 years with 6 months in bottle.
This is the refined side of Umbria's reds. And Lungarotti's Rubesco Riserva Vigna Monticchio remains the benchmark. Orvieto DOC, once famous for sweet wines, now mostly dry. It covers about 2,100 hectares, producing around 78,000 hectoliters annually, with most exported.
Based on Grechetto and Trebbiano, the best Orvieto Classico wines are crisp, almond-touched, and mineral-driven. Trebbiano Spolentino, still mostly IGT, but quickly rising in importance. Its sharp acidity and salty edge make it one of the most exciting whites in central Italy. And Colli del Trasimeno DOC ver Gamay del Trasimeno, which is actually Grenache, not Gamay grape, so quite a weird naming there, but anyways, gives us these charming bright reds with a lake-cooled freshness, a hidden gem for adventurous drinkers.
So, if you want to taste Umbria in 3 bottles, here is where I would start. Montefalco Sagrantino Secco from Caprai or Tabarini for power and longevity. Targiano Rosso Riserva from Lungarotti for polish and elegance. Orvieto Classico Superiore, ideally with a high percentage of Grechetto for a crisp volcanic white.
And if you see Trebbiano Spolentino or Gamay del Trassimeno, grab them. They are the wines that reveal Umbria's true character beyond the famous names. Umbria is Italy's green heart, but in wine, it's a region of extremes. On one hand, you have Sagrantino, one of the world's boldest reds, and on the other, you have delicate whites born from volcanic soils. It is quieter than Tuscany, but not less profound. It offers something rare. It is traditional yet surprising. It's rooted in history, yet it's still being constantly redefined. So if you overlooked Umbria until now, I think it's time to give it a place on your Italian wine map.